My first afternoon in Zurich, Switzerland on the 19th, or I guess the 20th year of July 2017. Down there to the left, you can't see it from here, is the, or maybe you can, maybe that's it right there. It's good to check it out. Is the Zurich Bahnhof, which is the main train station. And this is whatever the name of this river is. My hostel's behind me a little ways, but I'll just pan so you can see what this looks like. It was raining when I came, but now it's quite pretty. There are three main churches here. Just something interesting I saw on a wall here on my little walkabout. Where I am standing now and Old Town, which is across the river here, doesn't really appear to be that old, like dripping with antiquity. On the other hand, I have to become familiar with their architecture. As usual, some of the most interesting architecture is on the top of buildings in Europe. Something I noticed most in Berlin. It's always interesting to wonder what impression people thought this artwork would make when it's so difficult to see it except with a telephoto lens. This is the main train station, which I missed on the way in out because I went on the lower floor. Some kind of interesting graphic. This is the hub of Zurich. This dish is called raclette, and it's spelled R-A-C-L-E-T-T-E. Apparently it's a local Swiss favorite, and what it is a melted cheese. They can use different kinds of cheese and with different kinds of spices in the cheese, and they can put it over regular potatoes, mashed potatoes, or I think some other combinations. Down there to the right is my hostel, City Backpacker Hotel Bieber, and this is the Old Town. Part of it, this main street, Niederhof. It's pretty front. You wonder if that's very old or not. It's really hard to tell here what's old and what's looking old. But I've seen beautiful painted work like that before, somewhere. Just hit 7 o'clock, which is why you hear the church bells cranking about. Very busy during the evening and during the day. To my left is the river that flows down to Lake Zurich. Here a pretty little square that epitomizes the cafe culture of this town in the summer, backdrop by a very pretty spire. You can't see the colors as dramatically as they are other times of the day. It's a green. The description Old Town's belied by its relatively modern appearance. Just a few little anecdotes of architecture, like that little balcony that sticks out, suggests this was old, and the layout of the streets, of course. Much of the oldness is a subtlety lost on someone who hasn't had enough experience in this culture. Walking down these narrow streets with their high floored buildings gives a hint of what the past might have been like. Probably a little bit rougher looking and therefore more authentic looking. But you can see it's just a hodgepodge of streets. Jack Jones, I think, a men's clothing little shop. I've seen at least 3 of those just walking around this local area in the last afternoon. This intersection across the river from the Zurich Bahnhof is a main intersection for trams, as if we couldn't figure that one out. And across this river and bridge we go to the Zurich Bahnhof. This is a large grocery store. Interesting to have one of these large grocery stores in this largely, highly densely area versus Jackson with 3 large ones and 1 medium size. But notice the old buildings in the background. And now looking, I guess you'd call it upriver. Spend most of the day traversing all of that area back in behind that on Bahnhofstrassen, which is a street that formerly formed the boundary, the western walled boundary of Zurich, and included a moat or 2. One of my mild perceptions as I look at this is to compare it to how the scene would be in India, where first of all you wouldn't see this sophistication of heavy machinery, including that little rig right there. I don't see those in the States, something akin to it of course, but you see a tremendous amount of labor, and certainly not dressed in protective gear, which must be hot during the day. The map indicates a lovely park up there beyond the train station. We'll explore that later. It's also where one of the large national museums is. I believe we're at the intersection of Bahnhofplatz and Bahnhofstrassen, the street I'm going to follow.